Hello again, I'm Doug Smith. This is the 24 January 2014 edition of Portsmouth This Week, the Voice of Portsmouth Town Hall. Our special guests today are Ray Davis, the coordinator for the Portsmouth Prevention Coalition, Marianne Ramo, the chairperson of the coalition, and Jenny Swider, the program director for the Herren Project. And our topic is going to be Project Purple, which is a national anti-substance abuse awareness campaign that will start next Monday in Portsmouth and nationwide. So welcome to you all. I think this is a great topic to be talking about.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ray, I know you were on the program back in May, so it's 7 months ago, about something like that. And when you were here, you talked about the results of a drug/substance abuse issue or survey that was done here in Portsmouth. Before we get into Project Purple, which I think is a really exciting thing we need to talk about, I wonder if you could just give us some background on what the survey results look like.
I'll be glad to do that. Thank you. The survey was part of a community needs assessment. It wasn't just a survey of the students. It was an assessment of the entire Portsmouth community around the issue of adolescent substance abuse. And it was the most comprehensive study that's ever been done in this town. We procured the services of John Matson Consulting from Providence, and John has done these surveys for all the schools in Newport County, as well as many other substance abuse prevention coalitions across the state. And part of that was a survey of Portsmouth students from grades 7 through 12. And the survey is approved by the Rhode Island Department of Education as well as the federal government. It's used as a tool for any community applying for a federal drug-free communities grant. It's very sophisticated. It's about 46 to 48 questions. There was no identifying information on that for any individual student. All of that is held in strict confidence. There's no identifying information anywhere on it. The results we got a return of 1,203 students, which is phenomenal. And I want to thank the Portsmouth School Department for making that happen. They were so cooperative with us on that. That return is one of the largest returns of a school survey that our evaluators ever seen. We had over a 90% return, which means the information we got was very valid. We asked questions about tobacco, alcohol, marijuana, and non-prescribed prescription medication that was being used by students. And the first thing, whenever you talk about a survey, people say, oh, well, they all lied, or most of them lied. And in actuality, that's not the case. We asked the students, how many of your fellow students do you think are telling the truth? And they said, oh, probably 12%. When it turned out, when we asked them if you told the truth, it was more like 80%. So the information we got back was very useful, and it's broken down into all those categories. We looked at use, we looked at perception of use, which is something we're going to talk about, because perception of use drives behaviors. Yeah. Simple fact of that is they think everybody's doing it, when in fact is that not everybody is abusing those. Students said that they felt that 90% of their peers were using all these various substances, except for tobacco, was a little bit lower. In actuality, the actuality numbers are way too high, but they're more between 25 to 38% overall. So the perception of use really is much higher than what it actually is. All this information is available on the town's website. If you go to the Portsmouth Prevention Coalition, you can email me at rdavisprevention@cox.net, and I can send you the report or PowerPoints of that. All that information is there. What we found is that, and this isn't unusual, this is not just for Portsmouth, this is across the country actually, the use of these substances rises as kids get older. The most important years, not the most important years, that the years where we see the big jump is 12, 13, 14, 15. Those are the years that really we see significant changes in those numbers.
Okay, so you're talking about middle school to high school.
Middle school to high school, right. And then the highest rates are juniors and seniors. Just with marijuana, the question of marijuana. the seniors at Portsmouth High School, 49% of those seniors said they had smoked marijuana, and 49% of them had said they had smoked marijuana in the last 30 days. Almost 50%. The perception of harm, we asked about all those substances as well, and students did say that there was a significant increase in the students' perception of harm around smoking tobacco. Those numbers were very low. But marijuana was a whole different story.
Yeah,
and
that's the one that leapt out at me when we were talking about this in the program, the perception that marijuana is okay. You can't smoke tobacco because it's bad for you, but marijuana is okay.
Marijuana, there's very little perception of risk to that, and I think that's attributed to changes around medical marijuana issues, the laws around that. All you have to do is turn on the news and look at what's going on in Colorado and Washington. Sure. It's a big, big question, and they are the ones who are seeing all this through their filters. I don't want to negate the issue of alcohol. Alcohol is above and beyond the most widely abused drug there is across the board.
Right.
We're all familiar, and I'm not minimizing it, we're all familiar of what happens with adolescents using alcohol. Traffic fatalities, all those things. That also happens with other substances as well. We have a great deal of information about what substances were being used, attitudes, not only from the survey. We did 3 focus groups with about 8 to 10 students, one with 7th and 8th graders, one with 9th and 10th, and one with 11 to 12, and with a group of parents as well, to get their feedback on what they see and feel about all these issues,
right,
as well as a number of significant community leaders like the Chief of Police, Chief Hebert, when he was here. And we're going to be doing that survey again the first week of February.
Okay. So the bottom line there is we've got a lot of data on what the problem's like.
Yes.
And then I know we talked last time that you sort of identified the problem. Now the next thing is to come up with some kind of strategy or some kind of plan to start fixing this if we can. I know, as you say, it's a perception, social, cultural kind of issue. Marianne, I know you guys work on the Portsmouth Prevention Coalition. What kind of strategy do you have going forward to try to change these minds?
Well, we had gotten together and come up with a list of different things that we suggested to the subcommittee. The school committee has a substance prevention subcommittee, so we're kind of working together. And one of the things that we recommended was Project Purple and bringing that awareness to the schools and the town. So I'm really grateful that we are actually doing that. Education, of course, is the #1
Sure.
thing with students and the community. We are bringing, the school department is bringing Life of a Student to Portsmouth at the end of February, which will really talk about what alcohol and drugs do to your body. John Underwood was a trainer, an Olympic trainer, so he really talks about how it affects your performance. We feel like it affects all students, though, not just student athletes.
Sure.
There are students that are athletes outside of school, and just in general for healthy lifestyles.
Yeah. One of the things we talked about when you were here last was facts. Facts should help people understand, maybe to change some of the perceptions, to use the facts to show how what you think is not correct right now in this area.
If I could just add to that, we asked those students in that focus group, is there any kind of prevention message that Portsmouth puts out to you that resonates and makes any sense to you? They overwhelmingly said to us, Project Purple. I participated in all those groups. I was really amazed at the students saying how much that and listening to Chris Herren had influenced them positively. And that came from Project Purple initiative at St. Barnabas.
Okay.
And the high school.
And the high school too, true.
Okay.
Right.
Let me now segue into the topic of the program, which is Project Purple and the Herren Project. Jenny, let me ask you, I assume that Project Purple, as you say, is part of your strategy going forward. It's a part, but it's a big part. Could you tell us a little bit about Chris Herren and about the Herren Project?
Sure. Chris Herren is a former NBA athlete that actually played with the Celtics. He grew up in Fall River, Massachusetts, and struggled with drugs and alcohol through much of his career. Sober since August 1st of 2008, he wanted to start an initiative that could help those affected by substance abuse. So he started the Herren Project. And the Herren Project has three parts: education, treatment navigation for those who are struggling and don't know where to turn for quality treatment solutions, as well as mentoring. So Project Purple is part of the education piece of the Herren Project. And it all started at Mount Hope High School in Bristol, Rhode Island. Chris was there speaking, and at the end of his presentation, many kids will raise their hands and ask questions, but this was a little different. She stood up and she said, "Mr. Herren, thank you so much for coming and sharing your message with my school. You represent who we are here." And he said, "Well, who are you?" And she said, "We're the sober students of this high school." And as she said that, behind her, the kids started to laugh and chuckle and kind of shift in their seats. And Chris thought to himself, it's a shame. I wish I could have been that sober student in high school, and maybe it could have led me down a different path in my life. So he came back to me and said, "Jenny, we got to do something. What can we do for this one girl who stood up? Because there are so many people like her in
It takes a lot of
schools
guts.
and they feel like they're alone. And we need to do something to switch the mentality and make it cool to be sober and be that water bottle kid, instead of being cool to be that kid who's in the woods hiding from the police drinking on Friday and Saturday night."
Yeah.
So we started Project Purple.
How did Purple come into this?
The school color of Mount Hope High School is purple, and she was wearing a purple shirt. It also, and it kind of aligned very, it was really unique, but purple's also the color of recovery, and is also a very strong color within the recovery community and around alcohol awareness. So it just kind of aligned that way, how the whole program, got its name, just Project Purple, based on the color.
So it's really cool. So our local high school here in Bristol, the kids there are the originators, essentially, of the idea
That's right.
for something that's now nationwide. It's going to happen next week. I think that's really great, and more power to those kids,
Absolutely.
So I assume that Chris is going around to different schools talking to kids. I went on to your website, and we'll talk about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little short video there about the Herren Project, and it shows him talking to some high school kids. And the thing that got me was that they were totally glued on what this guy was saying. So I think if you can get a kid to totally pay attention to you, you're really doing something special, So.
He has a unique way of engaging with students across the country and connecting with them in a way that most of them will respond to us via email or social media. And many of them say, I came into this assembly not really wanting to listen or thinking, ugh, another drugs and alcohol speaker, but you caught my attention. And Chris not only talks about drugs and alcohol, but he'll ask them, what is it about you on a Friday or Saturday night that you feel like you need to change yourself? What is it that you feel like a red Solo cup is going to provide you with more confidence or make you prettier? Why can't you just be you?
Yeah, all those tough questions.
And you'll see the kids shift in their seats, and then they kind of engage with him. And it's really amazing the response we've gotten.
Now, let me ask you this. This is going to be a nationwide project, a lot of purple things, shirts, T-shirts, etc. What do you hope to accomplish with this project?
In Portsmouth, to me, the first thing that comes to my mind is we spend so much time, rightfully so, on the problems of substance abuse. And we don't spend enough time paying attention to those students who make, young people and adults actually, who make those decisions. You know what? I'm not going to get involved with this stuff. Or I have been involved with it, and I found another way. And this is really about saying to those young people specifically, the town of Portsmouth is very proud of you, and we're behind what you're trying to do 100%, because it makes a huge difference. And that's really what Project Purple is to me. It's the kids, the young people, I keep saying kids, sorry. It's the young people who drive it. They're the ones who get behind this. It's not something that I can impose on anybody or the schools can.
Right.
It comes from the kids saying, I'm going to make this decision, and here's somebody else who doesn't use that stuff either. And that peer pressure can work two ways. It can be very detrimental, as we all know, and that's where most kids get their illegal substances from. Or it can be the other way around and say, you know what, I'm not going to do that this weekend. Maybe you want to think twice about it. That's powerful.
Well, I think thinking back, and all of us do when we were that age, peer pressure is like the ultimate driver, just about, I think. And,
It is.
So this is really to celebrate the kids that are doing what we think is the right thing, which is standing up to this stuff. I don't need this stuff. That takes a lot of guts, especially when you're a teenager. You got all these other hormonal and other issues going on.
Right.
So I think this is great. And I noticed from your list of stuff, you have a lot of things that are going to happen right in Portsmouth. Marianne or Ray, would you like to talk about those?
Sure. Well, we are lighting up the police station and the fire department. We're putting ribbons there as well. The police cars and the fire department vehicles will have ribbons on them. We're lighting up the town hall. We're lighting up the library. We are, Clements is going to be doing Purple Day on Tuesday.
Clements always does something.
They've been great
They're
supporters,
people.
right?
The schools, the elementary schools will have ribbons on their building, on the signs. Where's your list, Ray? What else are we doing?
Yeah, I know you had a really long laundry list. of
The
stuff.
high school is going to be doing a basketball game. They're going to go purple on Friday the 31st. The SAD group will be handing out ribbons for that. What else?
St. Barnabas.
St. Barnabas. Go ahead.
St. Barnabas is really, and my hat's off to them because they've been the one who really brought Project Purple into Portsmouth and really have supported it. And I'm very appreciative of that. St. Barnabas is doing a whole thing. They're having a recovery mass by Father Peter, as well as doing programs for all the students they have from grades 1 through 10. And there's a number of activities that are available that they're going to do. They're going to reach out to 532 children in grades 1 through 10 during that week around it. The other thing is the school department. The school department has really gotten behind this at all levels, at all the middle school, high school, and elementary school. There's things going on in all the buildings around Project Purple and making healthy choices, from basketball games to discussions as well, and students wearing purple if they choose to.
I noticed you mentioned that there will also be ribbons at the elementary schools. And I just wondered if in your studies you've shown if there's any correlation to trying to catch the kids when they're younger. I don't know if this works or not. Maybe you almost have to wait till they're tempted themselves, perhaps, to.
The sooner the better.
Well,
what we found nationwide, that it's never too early to start talking about making good decisions. And the message to the elementary school is a little bit different. It's about making good friend choices. It's about being a good friend. It's about putting good foods into your body, nutrition. And it allows them to understand that it's okay to be you.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really hard sometimes for kids as you're growing up, to know that it's okay to be you and you should be proud of who you are.
Yeah, and I think a part of that too is anti-bullying ideas.
Absolutely.
When I think back to when I was in school back in the dark ages, everybody went through this stuff, and I don't know, some people it really bothers, and others like me, I guess it didn't that much, but or it affected me in ways I don't even understand perhaps. But I think, as you mentioned with Chris, when he's there talking to the young lady over in Bristol, it took a lot of guts, and people were snickering. And that's kind of bullying, really, when you're saying, this person's, I don't think like she does, so there's something wrong with her. That's wrong. And I think a big part of that, a component of the project here, is to say, wait a minute, these kids they have their stuff all together.
Absolutely. And this year we expect to have 250,000 students and people of all ages across the country go purple. And I think it's a testament to that one girl who stood up and had the confidence to
absolutely.
do so.
She should be very proud of herself.
Absolutely.
I'm proud of her.
She's in college now.
That's great. Yeah.
You know what I would like to say too, that I didn't mention? My house is gonna go purple. I have some purple lights that I'm gonna put up and ribbons, and I really would like to see this become like a grassroots effort, like maybe people find out about it and they decide to put a ribbon on their mailbox or on a tree or, on their car. I'm gonna put a ribbon on my car. Yeah. And Carlone's is, they provided us with the ribbons for for this for around town, and they said that anyone that stopped in and said that they wanted to be part of it, they would give them a discount on ribbons. So if anybody, wants to
that's
be
great.
part of it.
Yeah, and I really want to thank Carlone's for their support behind this, as well as Clement's. Also, Fatigatti's Fresh Pasta and West Main Pizza are also going to do some displays too. So there's been some, this to me, I've been doing prevention in Portsmouth for a long time, and I've never seen this town get so much behind a message like this before. And that's really encouraging.
Yeah. So it's really a community effort.
Absolutely.
That's what I saw when
Absolutely.
you came. When we talked about this last time. And that's very interesting. And your idea of everybody getting out there and showing something, showing support in some way. Are there other, what else can Portsmouth residents, or what else can people do? Parents, for example.
The most effective prevention tool ever invented is a parent. If you can just sit down and have a conversation with your
People
child.
do that?
People do that. And I think a great example of that was there was a recent incident that the middle school brought to attention about children inhaling something there. And they got some flack through some of the...
That was the Smarty
Yeah,
episode.
but
Is that even possible? I don't know.
It is possible, and it's very dangerous behavior. Inhalants are really, really serious, dangerous behavior, because that models behavior for other things that are deadly. And I'm not an alarmist. I used to be the inhalant facilitator for the state of Rhode Island. That's dangerous behavior. But the fact that Portsmouth Middle School put that information out, I've had a number of people come up to me and say, you know what, at first I thought, what is this all about? And then I started talking about it with my children at dinner. Those are the things that are really effective. Those conversations mean the world.
And the thing is, it's funny because there was some criticism about, you didn't go to Snopes, you didn't check it out, but I thought it was really great that the police department and the other public people in Portsmouth here put it out on their sites as well. So, I mean, certainly you have to err on the side of something that's possible and very dangerous. What else can people do, though? One, everybody should put a ribbon in their car or something, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know, I draw the line at purple lights on my house. I don't think I can do that. But what else? Just wear something purple during the week?
You can.
Let's put a call out on this program right now. Let's say everybody in Portsmouth show that they support this program by doing something purple.
Well, that's why I thought the ribbons, because I know the lights, I had to order them online, and it's a little more difficult.
Yeah.
But the ribbon, it's something easy that you can do just on the front of your house to show that
on your car.
You're supporting your car. It's the same thing. It's like to show that there's other people out there that agree with the choices.
And I also think for the teenagers and the kids that are in schools to know that there are adults in Portsmouth that support their decision making subtly. You don't need to be in their face with it by wearing a band or by putting a ribbon on. You're saying, I believe in you. Yeah. And that's so important.
Show me your band, Jenny. That's, can somebody get a close-up of that, Bob? Okay, these are the Project Purple bands.
They are. They say Project Purple.
Now where can people get
the Herren Project underneath? They're available through our website, and it is goprojectpurple.org. And they can order them online. And we'll also have them available at West Main Pizza. I'll make sure that we have some at Clement's as well, so that people can go by and pick up some bands.
Now, I know you're going to talk to the town council on Monday.
Yes.
So I would hope you'd either bring some of those or ribbons or something to give to our town councilors to where to let them show their support.
They've asked for a ribbon to be hung in the council chambers for that night as well.
Okay. Well, you want to hang one in each. Trust me, I've been there, done that. Hang one in each councilor, and also John Klimm was outside listening to this program right now. They need something purple. A lot of people don't have anything purple.
Absolutely. Well, you're going to get your band right after this.
Okay, well, that's great, and I will wear it, and I'll be around. What else can people do? How about supporting you guys financially? I know, Ray, you're going to be down there and watching in a couple weeks. And you want to talk a little bit about that, about how we can try to leverage our representatives, perhaps?
The best thing you could do is to contact your state representatives and ask them to fund prevention efforts in the state of Rhode Island, which they don't do very well at all. We received a 30% cut. The state of Rhode Island gives the town of Portsmouth $19,196 a year to do prevention.
And remember, they just approved the medical marijuana and allowed one to come into Portsmouth right about the time that they cut our budget by 30%.
But I'm going to Washington for the Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration has a leadership conference for the week. And at the end of that week, there is a full-day workshop for any community that wants to apply for the Federal Drug-Free Communities Grant, which Portsmouth will be applying for this year. That will be able to get, if we get the grant, which I'm sure that we're going to do, because we've got the community behind us now. It's a 5-year grant for between about $125,000 a year for 5 years to do real serious prevention. And all, just as you opened the program, Project Purple is one very important piece of what we're going to do as a community, and it's only one piece. It's much wider, and this is not a problem of the Portsmouth schools, it's a problem of the town of Portsmouth. Our local representatives have actually been very, very helpful. I've been contacted by all of Portsmouth's representatives, and they've been a big help.
Yeah, I'm sure Chris Aliano and Jay Edwards will be all over this. So, but the point is, we need people from the grassroots up to write them letters, send them a note, send them an email, whatever, asking them to support this effort going forward.
And of course, the Portsmouth Prevention Coalition is a nonprofit, and we always accept individual donations.
Okay, that's kind of what I was trying to get at.
And as well as the Herren Project.
Herren Project, yes.
is also a 501c3, and we fund Project Purple through donations.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of things we'd like people to do. One, next week, wear purple, carry purple, do something purple, right?
Have conversations with your kids.
Right.
That's a tough one.
That's the most important one. That's
no,
the most
I know it
important
is. I know it is. And the problem is in our busy lives, maybe if you text them, you could probably get a hold of them, but that's
you're right, actually.
somehow the only way it seems to work sometimes. But I also think, how big is the coalition in Portsmouth? How many people about?
About 15
Yeah,
people. We have,
around 15.
individuals, parents, community members. We have people from Roger Williams. We have people from Child and Family Services. We have a representative from Boys Town.
The police department,
Okay.
the schools, parents.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's
Faith
interested
community.
in trying to help you guys out or maybe get on the coalition.
Coalition is open to any resident of Portsmouth or anyone who works in Portsmouth. They're all volunteers. I'm the only person that's paid, and I work 10 hours a week.
Well, you get paid for 10 hours a
I
week.
get paid for 10 hours a week, yeah. But it's all volunteer. We meet usually the last Wednesday of the month. And again, you can contact me at rdavisprevention at cox.net, and I'll be glad to give you any information you'd like.
We meet
Okay.
at the town hall the last Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning.
Okay, at
you'd like to
8:30 in the
come.
morning. So
Because we have
somebody
school
does-
people.
That's right, okay, sure.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, I think there's plenty for all of us in Portsmouth to do about this thing. I have to applaud everything you're doing here. I know it's a really hard problem. It's a cultural, social, whatever problem. You were saying it's not just students, it's Portsmouth. It's really bigger than Portsmouth. It's countrywide.
Right.
And it's something that's going to be very difficult to change. But I wish you great success on the Project Purple project, and I hope sometime we can bring Chris in and talk to him about what he's been doing and what he hopes to do. And I'd like to hope that you guys consider coming back and tell us how it went and where you want to go from there, say, in a few months.
I will be glad to do that, and I really want to thank Chris and the Herren Project for what they've done. I went to a conference in Pittsburgh last year. The keynote person said the most impressive speaker before Congress was Chris Herren.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks very much. We're out of time, as I knew we would be. This is Doug Smith signing off. See you next time.